Keep It Simple Phone Tech here with another in the how-to series, and this time we're going to talk about how to locate your storage space on your phone. That is, how much room do you have on your phone? I'm going to focus on Android for this video specifically. Now, again, if you've watched any of the other videos that we've done here in the basic series or in the how-to series, you will hear me constantly say something to the effect of Android has a lot of variation, and so I do want you to keep this in mind. It's one of the challenges because I really enjoy trying to produce these videos to bring everything that I've learned in troubleshooting into video format, but at the same time, when it comes to Android, because there is just so much variance, it's a little bit difficult sometimes to pinpoint some of the settings and some of the features just because Android varies so much. iPhone doesn't really vary so much with Apple, just as an example. At any rate, I'm going to do the best I can. In general, here are the steps that you're going to take to find your storage space on your phone. Alright, so let's go to settings, and the quickest way to do that, again, is through your notification bar, unless you have the settings icon already on your home screen. Pull down your notification bar. Let's try that one more time. There we go. Press on your settings icon right there. I think there's only one phone, by the way. I'm just kind of throwing this out there. Or at least one phone maker. I believe that's Alcatel. That they don't have the settings icon like that. They do something different. I can't remember exactly what the icon looks like. Looks almost like a little square, or maybe like lines stacked atop of each other, similar to a menu key. But anyway, most Android phones have that little icon. Alright, so from here you have hopefully just a list of options, and you're looking for storage. Some phones will say phone storage and SD cards. We have storage right here. If you happen to have your settings set up to where you have tabs across the top going from left to right, usually on the left side it'll say something like connections or networks, and usually on the right side, at the far right that is, it'll say something like general or more. If you do have those tabs, you'll want to select the option on the far right. Let's say either general or more. That will lead you to this option, storage. Alright, so let's press on storage. And now that we're in here, what exactly are we looking for, you ask? Well, what I guide my customers to is we want to take a look at the total space and the available space. And then if they have that option there, the use space. Now, total space is 32 gigabytes for this phone. Here's something that, if you were not aware of, when you get a 4 gigabyte, if they still have those out there, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128 gigabyte phone, you're not getting that full amount for you to use. So, with that, for example, the total space here, again, is 32 gigabytes. But where it says system memory, and your phone, it may say this, it may not, but the system memory is the memory that's dedicated to your operating system and any pre-installed applications. So that's going to take away a small chunk of your total space. So keep that in mind. You're not given the full amount of total space when you receive the phone. I mean, technically you are. You do have a 128 gigabyte phone, but you're not given 128 gigabytes to use, and so on and so forth for 64 gigabytes and down the line. So the importance of this then is to just check on this periodically to make sure that you have enough free internal storage, or another way to put it, free phone storage. Now, if you do have a memory card or an SD card, you can load up the SD card and you'll just run out of space, but it won't affect the performance of your phone. I think there may be just a few phones out there today that if you need to, or if you want to take pictures, it is essential that you have an SD card that has space on it. But I think those are primarily older phones going maybe 2, 3, 4 years back. Otherwise, when it comes to your SD card, you can have that filled up, and that's not going to affect the performance of your phone, other than you won't be able to back anything up to your SD card. What is important is that you leave enough internal or phone storage, same thing, you leave enough space free on your phone at all times for it to function properly. Alright, so how much space should you leave free on your phone at all times? Well, we used to use as a rule of thumb that you keep 25% of your total storage space free. Now, 25%, that can be a lot. You know, if you have a 64 gigabyte phone, that's 16 gigabytes that you can't mess with. And that's not necessarily practical. Plus, too, I have seen, or at least heard of customers tell me over the phone anyhow, that they've had phones that were, let's say, 32 gigabytes, and they would have maybe 500 megabytes free. Now, just in case, to give you the math, 1 gigabyte is equal to 1,000 megabytes, to break that down for you. So these phones, they're very efficient. They can actually run just fine if you go under that 25% storage space free kind of limit that we used to have. What I found will work, I mean, you can go as low as probably 5 or 10% of your total storage space. So in this case here, we're looking at, what's that, either 1.6 gigabytes free before I start to have problems, or 3.2 gigabytes. So you can probably get away with having that little of room on your internal or phone storage and still have your phone operate smoothly. Would I personally test that limit myself? No. Would I ever get to that mark? Probably not, because I just don't really use much storage space. I'm kind of boring, so I don't have many pictures, don't have many applications. However, if you're one who does take a lot of pictures and download a lot of applications, and why not? Because that's why you spend, you know, $200 up to $800 or more for some of these powerful little machines. If you do that, you'll just want to keep track again of your storage space. So that's the purpose of this video, is to help you familiarize yourself with this area so that you can determine how you're using your storage, and then just to make sure that your phone runs smoothly. Alright, now use space. I don't know if every phone, probably, I'm guessing that the latest in Samsung will have the option of use space. The latest Samsung phones, maybe over the last year or two. Maybe LG, HTC, they'll have an option that says use space. But when we press on this, it's going to tell us what takes up what room. And so this is important if you do find yourself running very low on storage. You can come here, you can find the breakdown. Some will have little color-coded like lines and charts and so forth to break it down for you. This is just really straightforward. It's just giving it a number and the heading, apps, pictures, etc. But from here you can determine what it is that you need to eliminate. And for most of us out there with our smartphones, the two things that take up the most room, pictures and videos, I would say would be number one, and applications would be a very close second. Before we conclude this video, let me just show you what the storage section would look like with an SD card inside your device. It's a tablet, so the layout's going to look a little bit different from a phone. Almost the same concept though. Settings and storage. And if you have a memory card in your phone, if your phone can hold a memory card even, because some phones will not, then you're going to get two breakdowns. You will get a internal storage space, which they call it different things, but usually the top one is going to be your internal or phone storage. In this case it's called device memory, I guess just because. And then you'll see a breakdown where we talked about total space, available space. You see use space on here also. Then you'll have SD card, and you'll have sort of the same breakdown. Total space, available space. Okay, coming soon is a video that will talk about using the SD card, specifically how to move content from your phone storage to your SD card, and maybe some other things about the SD card also. Stay tuned. But in the meantime, main thing I just wanted to tell you about is what to look for if you have a memory card in your phone, or SD card as it's called, either or, same thing, that you'll have two of the same breakdown. So yeah, my customers, they'll get confused and we ask how much space do you have on your phone. They'll immediately come down here and they'll tell me this information instead of this information, because, well, just because. So again, look at the top here. That's going to tell you about how much space you have on your phone. Alright, so with that, that's how you check the storage on Android in general. Again, there's going to be a little bit of variance as far as what it's going to look like, that particular section for you, the storage section within your phone. Hopefully I've given you the pathway that will in general take you to the storage space in your settings. Again, check that out every so often, especially if you find yourself taking a lot of pictures, downloading and using a lot of applications. So just want to make sure that your phone is operating smoothly and you have enough storage space to use it. With that, thank you very much for watching. Again, this is Keep It Simple Phone Tech.